Hey guys, it's Daniel. I'm an Uber driver here in Denver. I'm here out in the Air and Space Museum. Waiting to go to an event right now. I just want to give one quick tip on how to maximize your gas while you're out on the road, how to make the most of it. So, in the taxi industry, originally they came up with the term of dead miles, which is the miles that you're driving when you don't have a passenger in the car. So, in other words, in between fares. So, in order to maximize your gas, it's best when you get a fare somewhere to, once you drop the person off, park immediately or go a couple blocks away and park and wait for another request to come in. That way you're not driving around throughout the day wasting gas on, with an empty car. If you think about it, let's say you do 20 trips in a day, and between each trip you drive 3 miles. To try and relocate to a better spot to get a fare. That's 60 miles extra a day that you're driving without a passenger. And if you were to add all those miles up, and when that equates to a fare, 60 miles of charging somebody to drive those 60 miles, that's like it's like almost a $100 fare right there. So you're really losing out on $100 by not parking the car after a fare. And I mean, there are some exceptions to this. Let's say you get a fare from downtown Denver out into the countryside somewhere surrounded by farmland. Then maybe it would be a good idea to relocate at least back to a suburb somewhere a little more populous. But if you're getting a fare from like Denver to Boulder, for example, it's best to just park the car after dropping the person off. I guarantee if you give it about a half an hour, a new request will come in. And you'll have a tendency to want to relocate, especially like I got a fare from downtown Denver to Highlands Ranch, which, if you know anything about Highlands Ranch, it's a sea of houses more or less. Everybody has a car, so people don't Uber as much. But I waited about a half an hour, and then I got a fare from there straight to the airport. And that's a good fare. It's about a $40 fare. And if I had not waited, if I had just gone and relocated closer to Denver, I would have missed out on that opportunity. Now, obviously, if there's some exceptions to this. If there's like a crazy fare in downtown Denver, let's say it's New Year's and the fare is 7.5 times, the surge rather is 7.5 times, then maybe it's better to relocate back to there, because then a $5 fare becomes $35. You can relocate back 4 times in the time it takes you to wait, and then you get more fares that way and make more money through the surge by taking advantage of that. So there are some exceptions, but by and large, when you get a fare to some area that, even if it's not so hot, definitely wait it out, try to stay there, and you should pick up a fare within 30 to 40 minutes. I mean, I've never gone longer than an hour without getting a fare, no matter where I was. And on this note of saving gas, one thing I like to do is fill up my tank in $10 to $15 increments. That usually equates to about a half a tank for me. And the reason I do that is so I can accurately kind of measure, okay, for every $10 or $15 of gas that I'm putting into the car, how much am I making in return? So, this is a 2013 Chevy Cruze. For every $10 in gas that I put into it, I get about 120 in return from Uber, and that's after they take their 20%. And that is in part by employing this strategy of just parking the car near where I dropped the last person off and waiting for the next fare. So definitely figure out how much you're spending for your car. It's going to vary, obviously. Chevy Cruze is 38 miles to the gallon, so it's pretty good gas mileage. I know the Prius, if you're doing a lot of fares around the city, I know a buddy who can make $200 with $10 of gas just from working around the city and not having to burn the gasoline, because the Prius switches over to the gas engine once it's on the highway and going faster. I think 60 miles an hour, or above 25 miles an hour, it starts to burn gas. So definitely something to think about. I do want to come out with a video on what are the best cars to use for driving Uber. More to come this week, but thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.